meeting of the Nassau County Planning Commission. Due to the coronavirus emergency and state and federal bans on large meetings or gatherings and pursuant to Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 220.1 issued on March 12, 2020, suspending the open meetings law, the July 2nd, 2020 Planning Commission meeting will be held electronically via Zoom and may be viewed by the public via live stream on Zoom as described below. And it'll be listed as the July 2nd, 2020 NCPC meeting. The public may send in their comments for the public portion of the meeting via email to the address below. The Planning Commission will review and consider these public comments prior to making a final decision. A recording of the meeting will be posted on the Nassau County Planning Commission website. Instead of a public meeting open for the public to attend in person, members of the public may listen to or log into the video conference. Access and instructions for Zoom is available on the Nassau County Planning Department webpage, which is www.nassaucounty.ny.gov/2856/planning-department. Final decisions will be made on agenda items contained in sections A through, I don't think that is, it's going to be F, right? B through F, John?
I don't have the agenda
on
open.
sections B through F at the July 2nd, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. The Nassau County Planning Commission was accepting public comments for cases listed in sections B, C, D, E, and
F is a new item.
oh, okay, so E, okay, B, C, D, and E of the June 25th, 2020 NCPC meeting by email to ncpc@nassaucountyny.gov. The deadline for comments was 4 o'clock on Monday, June 29th. Late comments received after Monday, June 29th at 4 p.m. were not accepted or considered. The Planning Commission will be making a final decision on the agenda items contained in sections B through E after reviewing and considering the public comments. The Nassau County Planning Commission will be accepting public comments for the public portion of the July, no, we won't. John or Sean, that's not accurate, is it? We're not accepting public comments.
We are
For item
accepting
F.
public comments for item F.
Okay, okay. Nassau County
That's the
Planning
new
Commission
case.
will be accepting public comments for the public portion of the July 2nd, 2020 Planning Commission meeting by email to ncpc@nassaucountyny.gov. The Planning Commission will accept public comments via email for agenda item F only before making a final decision on the matter. The public will have until 4 p.m. Monday, July 6th to email their comments for items contained in agenda item and agenda section F to the email address specified above. Late comments received after Monday, July 6th at 4 p.m. will not be accepted nor considered. After public comments are received, reviewed, and considered by the Planning Commission for the item contained in agenda item F, the Planning Commission will make a final decision at the next scheduled hearing of July 16, 2020. This meeting will also be conducted using a virtual meeting program, and access instructions will be provided on the Nassau County Planning Department homepage. So with that caveat, I will do a roll call. Commissioner Warren.
Unmute.
That's the dog answering?
On, we didn't get that. Commissioner Warren.
Here.
Okay. Commissioner Shaper. I think he's excused. Commissioner Ellaby. Still having technical difficulties. Commissioner Blue.
Present.
Third Vice Chair Lewis.
Present.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro.
Here.
First Vice Chair Greenfield.
Present.
Chairman Glennon, all present. We have a quorum. Acknowledgement of receipt of the transcripts on June 25th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All right, Aspect, are we closing the comment period?
Yes.
Right? All right, so we need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so the public comment period was over as of Monday, June 29th at 4 p.m. Have we received any comments?
No.
Not seen any? Okay. I'll entertain a motion. I think we can, well, we'll just do them separately. Hold on a second. Do we need to make the presentation? Who's handling OSPAC? Who's
Just
doing
give
the
me
OSPAC?
1 second. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Greg, you should be able to do the PowerPoint.
John, I think you have somebody on the line too.
Someone just joined us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is,
You got Al and you have 3020 is the last four numbers.
yes, who is 516-272-3020?
That's Lindsay Pepe, PSEG Long Island.
Hi,
Sorry,
Lindsay.
I
I'm
had to join
going
a
to
bit.
put you on hold and bring you back in.
Well, aren't they here for this item?
Right. Never mind. Stay in.
Well, you got to bring the others in. Chris Chafee and
Yeah, I think you can bring everyone in for now, John, because it's a
Okay.
public
Everyone's in.
meeting. Okay, who's doing this?
So we are just, we opened up the public hearing last meeting. We are, and today we're just closing the public hearing. We had nobody from the public speak. So
Yeah, just
this
give
will
an
now go back to
just give an
OSPAC.
overview of the case before we vote on it, that's all.
Okay, these are OSPAC cases, file 3 and 4 of 2020, both permanent easements at the Coliseum parking lot in Charles Lindbergh Boulevard, Uniondale, Town of Hempstead, Section 44, Block F, Lot 41. That was case number 3 of 2020. Case 4 of 2020 is also a permanent easement in the vicinity of New Nassau County Police Academy on Perimeter Road in Uniondale, Town of Hempstead, Section 44, Block F, Lot 182. Nassau County would like to grant a permanent easement to LIPA PS&G for the construction, operation, and maintenance of switchgear equipment in those areas.
And OSPAC had no issues and there were no conditions and they approved both, correct?
No, they was introduced at the last OSPAC meeting. We opened the public meeting last week here. It was, we allowed for public comment the public comment period to be open. And now we are just closing that today. It'll go back to OSPAC for a vote on July 8th and then come back to the Planning Commission for a vote on the 16th of July.
Okay. All right, so we don't need to take any action. We're just closing the public hearing. Okay.
That is correct.
Agenda item C.
well, we need a motion, don't we?
No, we already
Yes.
did that. We closed the public comment.
Okay.
Our first act
All
was.
right, no problem, no problem.
So
Who's handling Treasure Island?
I am. The next case is to acknowledge contract vendee and adjust bond amounts for major subdivision application, final map application, NCPC file number 1989 F1, map of Treasure Island Marina, 2880 Ocean Avenue in Seaford, Town of Hempstead, Section 63, Block 67, Lot 1. This application received final subdivision approval on March 12, 2020. The attorney for contract vendee, You and Me Homes, LLC, requested that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution acknowledging the contract vendee and to revise the bond amounts that were conditioned on the original final approval. After discussions with the applicant's attorney, DPW personnel, counsel to the commission, and staff, we agree that the bond amount should be revised to correctly include the public improvements only for this development. The new numbers are bond of $278.40, cash escrow of $8,441.60, and inspection fee of $25,766.40. We did not receive any comment from the public on this application.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of NCPC file 1989 F1, map of Treasure Island, acknowledging the contract vendee and adjusting the bond amounts for the approval of the final subdivision to the following. Bond or cash in lieu of $206,278.40, cash escrow of $8,441.60, an inspection fee of $25,766.40.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, this is Al D'Agostino. Can I just mention something?
We're not really taking comments, Al.
All right, well, the motion is missing something. The contract vendee is further assigning the contract alternating the lots between two entities. I believe I given those names to the
You did that at the last meeting, yeah.
Yes, you did.
And I still use the old term reaffirmation. I know you don't like it, but it's basically the bond is going to be posted by those two entities, Castle Hill Developers LLC and Highland Estate Developers LLC. So that's who the approval has to run to because we're acquiring those 15 residential lots.
Right, and I believe you said last time there's a letter of assignment in the file.
No, the assignment is presently being effectuated. I only represent the contract vendee and the assignees, but we would have to come back to you again seeking the further recognition of those two entities, and I'd like to try to avoid that.
So we don't have the letter of assignment as of now.
Chris Brown is not doing the transactional work on this. I've been in touch with the attorney for the present owner, and they are agreeable to it, and that is in the process of being done. But otherwise, we'd have to come back to you again for a further, and I'm not sure what term you now use. As I said, I still use.
Oh, but here's the issue now, Counselor, right? You raised the issue, we raised it at the last meeting, and you're saying that we do not have what we need in the file. You're making a representation on behalf of one of the owners here. We don't have all the parties present. So
when you say all of the parties on the contract vendee side I represent the contract vendee, and I also represent the assignees, Castle Hill Developers LLC and Highland Estate Developers LLC. You had asked me last time if we're dealing with the same principles, and we are.
So who's going to post the bond?
Castle Hill Developers LLC and Highland Estate Developers LLC. They are posting the bond.
On behalf of? Who are they posting it on behalf of?
Well, of the current contract vendee, You and Me Homes, will be out of it, and they're posting it on behalf of themselves so they can acquire lots 1 through 15.
Okay. Counsel? Pat, you okay with this?
I'm fine with it. It's really more technical than real, so I don't have a problem with it.
Now we'll get you a copy of the assignment as soon as that's been completed.
In addition to the copy of the assignment, Al, don't we need, or Bob, don't we need a disclosure statement disclosing the principles of those two new entities or LLCs?
That would help. Al, why we do this, if you want to put something in there as far as Al getting me things, you're subject to Al getting me anything that you want, and we won't release the resolution until that we have it and we can run it by the commissioner. So that's why everybody's covered.
So
this way he doesn't have to come back.
So why don't you make a suggestion then, Counsel, on what you would like to have in the file?
You're talking to Bob or me?
I think Marty's talking to me.
I'm talking to you, Mr. O'Brien.
Yes. Al, what is it that you're going to get me on this?
I will get you. I will get you the completed assignment.
Yep.
And a disclosure that we're dealing with the same parties.
I'm fine with that, Chair. Anybody else?
Okay.
Anything else?
All right, so we have a motion and a condition on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, roll call. Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro,
Yes.
First Vice Chair Greenfield,
Yes.
Chairman Glennon, yes. Okay, motion carries.
Thank
All
you
right,
very
next
much.
up. Take care. Have a safe weekend.
Thank you all.
Next, agenda item D, extension of time.
This is for an extension of time for a 3-lot subdivision in Manhasset. This is for both above land and underwater land. There was no public comment on this application for an extension of time.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion. If anyone's gonna make it, you're gonna have to unmute
So
yourself.
moved.
Be here for a while.
So
Second.
moved.
All right,
Second.
motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, roll call. Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Third Vice Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro,
Yes.
First Vice Chair Greenfield,
Yes.
Chairman Glennon, yes. Motion carries. All right, moving on to agenda items E.
How beautiful is this scenery?
Yeah. 2020. Is that you, Jazz, or John?
This is me.
Hey, Greg.
How you doing? NCPC 21-2020. The applicant.
Greg, before you begin, we have a couple recusals on this case.
Yes, I'm recused. I'm putting myself on.
I'm recused too. I'll put myself on mute.
Actually,
John?
John, can you put them in the
Yep,
waiting
they're
room?
gone.
Okay.
They're gone.
All right, so we, both Council Bob O'Brien and First Vice Chair Greenfield have recused themselves. They're no longer in the Zoom meeting. All right, go ahead.
This is for a 2-parcel minor subdivision. The applicant is New York Land Development 2 Corporation. It's located at 18 Linden Place in Roosevelt, town of Hempstead, section 55, block 501, lot 298. The 9,816 square foot area subject property is situated on the south side of Linden Place in the hamlet of Roosevelt in the town of Hempstead. Application proposes to subdivide the property, which has 84.77 feet of frontage on Linden Place, into 2 separate parcels. Lot A will have 42 feet of frontage, total of 5,047 square foot area parcel. Lot B will have 42.77 feet of frontage, total of 4,769 square foot area parcel. Town of Hempstead Board of Zoning Appeals has approved the request for variances for the subdivision. Subdivision of lot area, front width from a non-street line to front setback line, and construct dwelling with a garage. So we did receive a public comment on this application.
John, do we have the pictures that came in with the public comment?
Yeah.
Let's put those up.
Greg is handling the PowerPoint, so he just needs a
Okay.
second.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the first. And this public comment came from Ashley Edwards on 228 Park Avenue. On June 25th, she wrote, "Dear Sir, I object the subdivision of 1 parcel into 2 parcels at 18 Linden Place in Roosevelt. I believe cramming 2 houses into the lot negatively affects the community character of not only Linden Place, but also Roosevelt as a whole. The other lots on this block consist of not only decent sized homes, but also an equally decent sized yard. This is Long Island. If we in this community wanted our homes stacked on top of one another, we would have moved to Queens. Please help us keep the integrity of the neighborhood by preventing overcrowding. The builder developer is only seeing dollar signs and not the quality of life for those in the neighborhood. 500,000 plus for a home the size of a bedroom living room is asinine. The second home on is nothing but a glorified studio apartment with 0 privacy from your neighbors. 1 home on the lot will suffice in increasing property value. 2 is an eyesore. I also find it quite disturbing that a hearing is taking place after the builder has not only broke ground, but also laid the foundation and erected the frame. Please see the attached photos taken this morning for reference. He then lied and stated he sent out notices in December and received no objections. It is virtually impossible to object to something that you're unaware of was taking place. We at 228 Park Avenue never received a notice for the December hearing. We, however, received a notice for the hearing on June 25th at 10 a.m. This is not only a slap in the face, but a blatant disregard for those who live in the neighborhood, gives off a sense of entitlement, and is dismissive of Roosevelt residents. Regards, Ashley Edwards.
All right, so I think we got a problem here. First off, there was some concern about the lot sizes when we met last week, and now one of the homes has been built and the foundation's laid for the second. And council, I believe this is inappropriate at this time without the prior approval of the planning commission.
Yes, the Nassau County Charter, section 1610-I, prohibits or
Yeah, you want me to read that? I have it.
Go ahead, Greg.
Pursuant to Nassau County Charter, section 1610, I2, civil penalties, an owner or agent of an owner of any real property structure or unit located within a subdivision who commences construction of any improvements without the approval of the NCPC shall be subject to a penalty of not less than $1,000 and no more than $10,000 for each and every structure or improvement proposed in such subdivision.
Right. So my question then, for each one of these properties, because it looks like the second one's been started already as well, we can find up to 10,000 for each property. Is that correct?
Yes, you are correct about that.
Okay. And this is not precedent setting. We've done this in the past.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, and I recall certain cases in which we've done this. So if anybody has any questions or comments or would like to be heard on this.
And Mr. Chairman, not only should I believe we should find the maximum for each one, I think that we ought to make him do a stop order, and he ought to come in front of us and explain his actions. We cannot allow this developer to continue to smack us in the face. He should know better. He was a former commissioner, and I think it's a total abuse of the system.
I don't disagree.
I'm in agreement.
Council, can we put a stop order on this?
Yes, because the charter also allows you to appeal to the court for injunctive relief. So I think a stop order would work.
All right. So before we go out and file papers, let's see if they'll do it voluntarily.
Yes.
Okay.
If not, the charter states that we can go to a court, to Supreme Court for an injunction.
Okay.
Can we force removal of the structures?
Not pursuant to the charter.
But we can stop it and it can sit there.
Yep.
And how long does
Yes.
it say, how long does it stop order last for?
Well, that would, if we move for an injunction, that would be up to the court. I mean, it would probably be.
Gentlemen? Hello.
Yes,
my name is Jed Nelson. I presented the case before the Planning Commission last Thursday. My computer just crashed, so I wasn't able to speak with you. I understand your concerns. I was able to hear you. I have the builder, Mr. Bianco from New York Land Development, here with me. Would you at least give him an opportunity to speak before you render your decision? I mean, we have been in uncertain times now for quite some time. Mr. Bianco attempted to reach the building department to see if he can get an extension on his building permits. There was no answer. There was no opportunity for him to—
Mr. Nelson, that doesn't give you the right to go ahead and—
Just let me finish. The
go ahead.
Department issued a building permit that stated he must begin construction within 4 months or lose his building permits.
Well,
So-
Okay.
Mr. Nelson, let me just tell you something. First of all, he needs subdivision approval before he can put a shovel in the ground. Okay, I don't care about the building department. The town of Hempstead doesn't give subdivision approval. If it was
He has
only one
building
lot,
permits
he
in
could
half.
have.
The building department gave him building permits.
I don't care. That's the problem. And Mr. Bianco knows better. He was a commissioner on the Nassau County Planning Commission. And as far as I'm concerned, this case is not moving forward, in my estimation, until things are rectified.
Why don't you?
He's gonna get fined, and he's gonna be stopped from doing any building until we are ready to approve it.
Excuse me, Mr. Commissioner.
Who's this?
Why don't you hear the
Who's
facts?
this?
This is Mr. Bianco.
I don't
Name and
care
ad-
about the facts, Mr.
Name and
Bianco.
address for the record. Name and address for the record.
James Bianco, owner of New York Land Development. Instead of attacking us, Mr. Commissioner, why don't you hear the facts and what the neighborhood was greatly appreciated for me to take this drug-infested property and develop it. Right away, you're coming to a conclusion without hearing the facts.
Well, the fact is that you didn't have approval for a subdivision and started putting a shovel in the ground. That's the fact.
Mr. Chairman, we're in uncharted waters here, okay?
This is not uncharted. Why didn't they make the application for the subdivision 4 months ago? We've been having meetings. We've had the meetings. Nobody made an application. Staff, have we had an application before this?
Do you want to hear my side of the story, or you want to come to your own conclusion?
I think
I'm just correcting the record, that's all. Go ahead.
Okay. This property was a drug-infested dump. Crack house. All the neighbors, once I purchased the property, went through proper zoning with the town of Hempstead. They were delighted the fact my neighbor to my west, my neighbor to my east, and the neighbor to the south and the north were extremely pleased to get rid of an eyesore in the community.
Apparently, one of the neighbors wasn't too happy with it.
We had a public hearing at the zoning board of town of Hempstead, and no one showed up. And when we demolished the house, they came over and thanked me. So here you are trying to crucify me for something that I did. And with the covert thing, you know, I had an unsafe structure. I had an unsafe hole in the ground. We put in the foundations and we backfilled because it was an unsafe condition.
Mr. Bianco, I see you have a fence around the property. Wouldn't that secure the location?
Not really, sir. Not really.
Really?
Okay, because kids go out and play.
So let's get back.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
And under normal circumstances, I would have waited for the planning commission to, listen to the application. But with the covert thing and the uncertainty of the building department reopening, we took it upon ourselves to make a business decision and backfill with the permission of the building department and enclose the structures. In normal circumstances, I wouldn't have did this. But because of the environment, we didn't want a second wave of the virus and have a job site that would not be safe.
So, Mr. Bianco, answer the question. Why is it that you didn't come to the planning commission for the subdivision earlier?
Do you know how hard it is to get things done and how the bill?
Well, apparently it's not that hard. You went ahead and did it on your own.
What do you mean?
You knew the process.
What did I do on my own? What did I do on my own?
You went ahead and built the house.
I got permits issued from the town of Hempstead.
Doesn't matter. You don't have subdivision approval to build the houses.
When did you get the building approval?
Chairman Shapiro, I said under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have put up the houses, but because of a concern of a second wave, I didn't want the foundations to be exposed, so we enclosed them.
Mr. Bianco, when did you get the approvals from the building department?
I got the approvals, which you guys have a copy of. November 13th, 2019 was when the zoning board approved this
So you had December, January, February, March, April, May, June.
The permits were issued on March 11th.
Okay. When did you make the
And
application here?
we follow the protocol of the planning commission to file everything, but I think you guys know that it was sort of very difficult. A lot of municipalities were closed. The county clerk was closed. So we were stuck between a rock and a hard place. And we made a decision to enclose the property. Under normal circumstances, we wouldn't have did what we did. But because of the covert and not knowing the uncertainty of what's going to happen in the future, we did start construction and enclose them.
When did you reach out to the planning commission?
I believe my first meeting with them was back in April. I met with Jasleen Paz at the Planning Commission early April. She
And Mr. Nelson, when you met with Jazz in early April, did you tell her that you were going ahead with building this because of the explanation that Mr. Bianco just gave us?
No, I did not. I didn't know it was.
Why not? You've been before us before. You know how this operates.
Correct. I was unaware that their construction had begun. I did not know that. Okay, so
Let
when
me
I
ask
met
something
with,
else.
pardon me?
Where were you from November until April?
Where was
Why
I?
wasn't something done in December? We met in December. We had meetings in January. We had meetings in February. We even had a meeting in March that was in person.
Okay.
And we
I
continued to meet all through our normal meeting dates after that, even though they were Zoom. So where were you for those 4 months?
The building permits weren't issued until March.
Yeah, but you could have come, if you were going to subdivide this property, you could have done it in those 4 months. You could have come in front of us. You didn't.
You didn't need the building permit. You didn't need a building permit.
Commissioner Shapiro, it says here on my building permit that a permit must be obtained within 4 months and commence construction.
Right.
So, like I said like I just recently said, if I don't commence construction within a certain amount of time, then the building permits will be voided. Again, we went through
But excuse me, Mr. Bianco, but because of the COVID, wasn't there an extension to these building permits? I mean, listen,
not that I'm aware of.
Well, no, I think the other question, Commissioner, if I may, is that you don't need a building permit to come in for a subdivision application, do you?
No.
So,
No, you do not.
The application to us should have been before the application to the town building department for the building permit. Yeah.
Precisely.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you please repeat that?
You didn't need a building permit to come in before us for a subdivision, an application for a subdivision.
Okay. At the Zoning Board of Appeals hearings, it was read into the record that Nassau County Planning Commission leaves it to local determination. So at that point, we were aware that you guys have already reviewed it. The zoning board heard a case in its entirety. No objectors showed up to that hearing. There was no.
You're talking about the town level. I'm talking about the county level.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to understand. He doesn't understand.
Jed, that was for zoning referral.
Zoning has nothing to do with subdivision.
He's confusing our zoning referral.
Local determination.
It's zoning, it's not subdivision.
Yeah.
You got a zoning approval. You didn't get subdivision because you never came in front of us.
Okay. Now,
you could have come in front of us simultaneously.
I don't want to split hairs, and I don't want to argue with you. Under normal circumstances.
Split hairs, wait a minute. You had from November, December, January, February, and the beginning of March. That's 4+ months to come in front of us.
Okay.
You chose not to.
You could have had the approval from a subdivision before you even got the building permit. You could have made the application.
Commissioner Shapiro, why would you accuse me of saying that you didn't come before us? We went through an economic disaster and everything went on a pretty slow basis. We're not trying to hide anything here. We simply were shut down, and you guys are telling me that you could have did this, you could have did that. The fact of the matter is, we had an approval from the town of Hempstead. The neighbors are very pleased that I took a 7-year foreclosure. It was a dumping ground.
We get all that, Mr.
Mr.
Bianco.
Bianco,
let me finish.
we've heard this 3 times. The bottom line is,
I heard you 3
had
times, Mr.
you had
Shapiro.
4 months to come in front of us. Okay? You know the process. We didn't have economic hardships in those 4 months. Where were you? You chose to do it your own way.
Well, we did.
You're now
to be clear,
using
That's not fair.
COVID-19
They chose to
as
do it
an
his own way.
excuse for
Yeah.
doing
Okay.
what you've done.
No,
I think
that's not fair. That's not fair. We did it our own way. Jimmy Bianco has a 25-year history of building in this community. He has never, ever done anything like this before. But because of its uncertain times, yes, this is an exception. Now, I understand the concerns of the neighbors. I have addressed, we have listened to all the neighbors. You have one neighbor that is outside zoning requirements. Only a portion of her property touches within 200 feet, and she seems to have an issue with it. She's never addressed it with us. She's never addressed it with Mr. O'Brien, who was the attorney that represented Jim at the zoning board. Okay, all of the abutting neighbors, the neighbors across the street, nobody has, other than her, has raised an objection. I understand what her concerns are, but once again, he took down a dilapidated house, putting up 2 houses that are going to exceed the values of the typical neighborhood range.
Mr. Nelson, you're mixing the apples and the oranges, right?
How is it harmful? Who does it hurt?
What
Well,
and
because
what was?
there's protocols, there's rules and regulations that have to be followed. And if you just take it upon yourself, I understand it was dire situations with the COVID, but you made a decision that this was the right thing to do without any authorization. I mean, what stops you from saying, you know what, maybe there's going to be, you know, the COVID is going to break out again, and I have property and I want to divide it. And you know what, we're going to get another, you know, the pandemic is going to continue, and we have to make the decision to go forward with this. And who cares about Nassau County?
No,
I mean,
that's not the attitude.
That's not the
That is
attitude.
absolutely not
well,
true.
I
We
listened.
have never disrespected Nassau County or this board.
I listened to how you said it. You said you took it upon yourself to make the decision to go forward. That's what you said.
Commissioner,
you said you made it a business decision to go
It
forward.
was a safety issue. You had a hole in the ground. You guys are not looking at the fact that we took down an eyesore and made all the neighbors, except the one who sent this email. You're not looking at that.
No, that's because there's a difference between taking down a building and putting up new structures. You didn't just take down a building and put a fence around the property. You also started building without getting the subdivision.
But Mr. Lewis, the building department sees a big hole in the ground after the demolition, and they don't like to see a hole in the ground. Plus, this COVID thing was another thing, and I can't believe that you guys are trying to set an example of me, because when was the last time you fined someone for starting construction?
Oh, within the last year.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
Well, we did.
Regardless of that, I take offense to one thing that was said, that we disrespected the Nassau County Planning Commission. And in doing this for the past 25 or 30 years, and my dad, Bert Nelson, doing this for the past 50 plus years, we have never disrespected Nassau County or this commission.
Mr. Nelson.
You do what you want to do, I understand, but we have never, I have never disrespected the Nassau County Planning Commission.
Well, just tell me something.
To me,
Then
that
where
I
were you
take
guys
offense.
for the 4 months before the pandemic? Why wasn't an application put in those 4 months?
You weren't getting a building permit, not knowing you weren't going to look for a subdivision. When you got the building permit, you knew you were going to build 2 homes.
We did not realize that at that time we were going to be shut down on a COVID a quarantine, and in all due respect, Mr. Bianco had other homes he was trying to sell, other homes he was trying to finish up before we got shut down with the quarantine. And I understand we should have moved quicker. Perhaps part of that is my fault because I didn't have all the paperwork together that the Planning Commission required. It was my first filing application. So partially that is my fault, but it is not on any disrespect to the Planning Commission. We are not trying to circumvent you. This is not a one-time builder who is not going, he's going to end up coming before you guys again. God willing, we won't be under the quarantine and we can do normal circumstances.
Mr. Nelson, and Mr. Chairman, if I could just make a comment. I do think from this back and forth that I heard Mr. Nelson explain that when they were at the public hearing at the town level, it was read into the record that we gave a local determination as our referral. This is an area where there's the potential for some confusion. You know, if you're at a public hearing, you hear that the town is considering this variance, and you hear that the Planning Commission gave a local determination. You know, I don't know exactly what they read, whether they acknowledge that a local determination is just a referral. It's not the actual action on the subdivision. But I do hear in that discussion what sounded like, and Mr. Nelson is well known and I think has always been highly professional in these kinds of meetings and such. And so I do hear in his description of what took place here that perhaps there was confusion about needing to get the subdivision approval. And again, as I said,
confusion on whose part, though, Commissioner?
Well, it's on their part, and it's their failure in that respect. But I think a lot of what we've said in this conversation was we had a hard time believing that they didn't know about these rules. But as the discussion went back and forth, the way he described it, when he says they're at the public hearing at the town and for the zoning board, and it's read that there's a local determination from the county, and they then think they can go to the town and get the building permit. And frankly, the town building department should have not issued the permit. We know that that's another part of the problem here. So, you know, you have an element in which it does sound like from this discussion that there was a failure to appreciate what the process is, even though we've said that both of these individuals are people with a lot of experience.
I can almost accept that, but for the fact that Mr. Nelson touted his experience and his father's experience in doing this work.
Yeah, I think that speaks to their expertise when it comes to the issues of real estate values and what is proper, but they maybe not as much expertise when it comes to the legalities of how to get something approved in Nassau County, and that you have to go for this subdivision approval. So I do think they have expertise, but you know, Mr. Nelson's expertise is maybe not with this part of the process. You know, so I just think we have heard in this discussion a statement of confusion, not just as the original concern was that we see some familiar names here and we say to ourselves, how could they not know what the rules are? But in the back and forth, I'm just, look, you know what I mean? What can I say? I mean, I do think that it sounded like that there was perhaps some confusion about the process.
Commissioner Lewis, let me ask you something. You sat on this commission for a number of years. Mr. Bianco sat on this commission for a couple of years, if I recall. He should know better. We've had this happen to us before.
We have, but that doesn't mean that there isn't room for confusion on this. You know that. If you go to Suffolk County, the rule is different.
I know that, but
and
Neil, you got to remember, he was a commissioner.
I get that, but you know, and it's an important distinction that a builder should have a handle on. He needs to know that you can't just go to the zoning board, that if it's a subdivision and it's not in a village, it must come before the Planning Commission.
I mean,
you know,
I feel that, you know, maybe there was some confusion, but there should be some kind of penalty. Because, I mean, first of all, there was, you know, in my opinion, the variance and, you know, squeezing these houses onto postage size lots is a problem for me.
Right. But,
you know,
but remember something, Lisa, remember something. We gave an LD for this. We said, okay, we'll go along with it. What the point is that when they were going to the zoning board, they should have come to us. Okay? And that's the system, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
All right,
We didn't
so,
do anything until after the foundations were already poured, and then they came to us.
No, I think that the whole process, I mean, the process was not followed. And, you know, there should be some kind of, you know, penalty for that.
With all due respect, we went through a worldwide crisis. And I mentioned, or I stated before, under these circumstances, I didn't know whether or not we were going to have another shutdown. So I said, in normal circumstances, we would have taken the correct steps. But with this pandemic, we were in a spiral with not able to get access and this. So as far as, I just want to point out that directly across the street was another subdivision, tax lot 602 and 603, which is directly across lots 602 and 603 was a subdivision. Those houses recently closed about 4 or 5 months ago. So there is precedent in the area about the subdivision. And there also was a subdivision on Park Avenue outside the 200-foot radius.
yeah, I don't think we're discussing, we had that discussion in our last meeting. So unless anybody else has anything else they want to add, I'm going to entertain a motion.
I just want to finish up one thing.
Who's this?
Jed Nelson. I'll make it short, sweet, to the point. The objector was outside of the 100-foot radius. That's why she was not noticed for the ZBA hearing. There have been signs posted on the fence around the property regarding the demolition permits and also regarding unsafe structure. Mr. Bianco's name, phone number was on that fence prior to the demolition of the property. I understand she has concerns. I'm not sure as to how it directly affects her, but she could have reached out to Mr. Bianco or the building department. The signs were posted. She never reached out to any of us.
Mr. Nelson, I do have one more question for you. So
Yes,
when you made your presentation last week, are you telling me you didn't know the homes were being built at that point?
That is correct. I did not revisit the site. I had the file from the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing, and I did not revisit the site. I can provide you the pictures of the house prior to the demolition if you...
We have it. We have it. We saw what the house looks like.
But
That's not
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say, I'm going to repeat myself again. Under normal circumstances, without this pandemic and all the municipalities were closed, we would have not gone ahead and did what we did. The neighbors were concerned.
But you went ahead and did what you did during these circumstances. That's the problem, right? So there's a pandemic going on, and you laid the foundation and you started building the house. That you didn't have a problem with. Coming to the Planning Commission while it's open and operating, that's where you had the problem because there was a pandemic.
Hey, let me ask you something. Hold on. Can you tell me, Mr. Bianco, when the foundations were poured?
I think in March, if I'm not mistaken.
In March.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We were still open and doing business. We weren't shut down till the last week of March.
Mr. Shapiro, are you trying to set an example to me?
No, I'm not setting an example. We've set examples before.
You mentioned
All we're
that
trying to do is tell you.
You mentioned that I sat on the commission, and in the 2 years I sat on the commission, there was a room full of objectors, and you never fined anybody. You want to set an example to me?
You're not finding a room full.
Okay, yes or no?
First of all, I don't care about the objector. I care about the process.
I told you that the process, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have did what I did to secure the thing. Okay? This is nonsense. This is nonsense.
Mr. Bianco.
And you're a real estate developer too.
Yeah, and I live by the letter of the law.
Yeah, okay. So do I. When was this virus affecting everyone? This is how I feed my family, and all the neighbors are very happy. You guys didn't even mention that. All you care about is that I put the 2 foundations in.
How would we know? Never mind. All right.
Right?
You put the foundations in without getting our approval. The bottom
All right,
line
so what
is
do
you
you
had
want to
4
do?
months.
What do you want to do? You want to find me? Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, big shot. You want to find me? Go ahead. You want to
Okay.
show your muscle? You think you're a tough guy? Go ahead.
All right. We're gonna I'll entertain a motion at this point.
Before the motion, I just want to ask, Jed Nelson's mentioned that he noticed everyone within 100 feet. I just wanted to confirm that that was a mistake and he actually noticed everyone within 200 feet.
I assume.
No.
The 100 was referring to the ZBA.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, everybody within 200 feet were noticed for the planning commission hearing.
Got it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to
Thank
make
you.
a motion that we go into executive session.
Second.
Okay. Let's go into executive session.
We should vote on it.
Motion to go into,
Anybody have an objection to going into executive session? Not seeing or hearing any. Let's go into executive session, John.
Okay, I'm gonna just need a minute and I'm gonna bring
All right, I'll be
everyone
back
back
in 30
after
seconds.
executive session.
I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Now, is the executive session recorded?
No.
Oh. We are back live.
where is Commissioner Blue?
Yeah, let's get everybody back on.
But don't, we still have, we have to take out Commissioner
Jeff and Bob.
and Bob.
Where is
And Bill Vanessa.
Greg?
Bill Vanessa's fine.
I think we're good.
Okay,
Whoops.
we're back live. We're recording. Okay, we come out of the executive session. First Vice Chair Greenfield is still on hold, as is Council Bob O'Brien. Second Vice Chair Shapiro would like to make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, NCPC file 21 of 2020. I make a motion for secret determination of an unlisted action. Actually, it's a negative deck and approval for a 2-lot subdivision, subject to a fine, which could have been up to $20,000. We're just going to recommend a fine of $2,500 on the second home. And let the record state that the process was not handled properly, whether it's the coronavirus or the town of Hempstead making mistakes of even issuing a permit without having this come in front of us first. But I feel that this is something that we have to continue to be very careful with and not set a precedent of the town or developers building homes without having subdivision approval.
So the motion is for approval conditioned upon receipt of payment of $2,500. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I have a motion.
That's the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, roll call. Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Third Vice Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro,
Yes.
Chairman Glennon, yes. Okay, Mr. Nelson, Mr. Bianco, you heard that?
Yes, we did. We just want to thank the commissioners and the planning commission for hearing us. And I just want to state once again, we did not do anything to try to disrespect the planning commission. We will all be together again. I'd like to move forward with a clean slate. Leave it at that.
Very good, thank you. Have a safe weekend.
You as well. Thank you again.
Okay, 2020. We have Commissioner First Vice Chair Greenfield back and Council O'Brien back.
Here.
Okay.
22-2020 is for a lot line adjustment in Belmore. When we last heard this application, the commission had recommended that we hear what was done in regards to the traffic study. We received some information from R&M Engineering. For the area immediately surrounding the proposed child daycare center, a curb cut planned at the southwest corner of the daycare parking lot will align with the three-phase signal at the intersection joining the Floral Place phase, the other two at Belmore Avenue and Belmore Road, by also installing a loop detector which senses vehicles and changes the traffic light accordingly at the proposed site access driveway. Wait times at the intersection have decreased by 3.1 seconds during the morning period and 0.7 seconds during the afternoon period. Increases in green phases for the side streets, which includes the proposed access driveway, is also a direct result of the loop detector and will reduce delays usually experienced by those waiting for the side streets. These mitigation measures have been vetted by DPW 239F process and are being supported by traffic engineering in regards to the lights. We did speak to our traffic department, and there were some concerns in regards to the changes they wanted to do for the crosswalk and where the curb cut was going to be proposed. So there was some word about it being denied for the change of the crosswalk. We did receive one public comment. My name is Michael Heisman, and I reside at 2 Floral Place, North Belmore, New York. I am totally against any construction of a daycare center at 1641 Belmore Avenue. I live directly opposite of this location. This location has poorly constructed and need a total repair for the intersection. I've been in touch with Nassau County Department of Public Works for years now to have this condition corrected, but no avail. The road surface is uneven and the trucks and cars traveling on this road actually lift up their rear wheels and bounce on the roadway, making loud noises and unsafe travel. Belmore Avenue is actually a speedy way for cars and trucks traveling at excessive speeds. I have never in 12 years of living here seen anyone get pulled over by police for these infractions. I have 4 grandchildren, and I'm glad that my grandchildren do not live at my residence for the fear of their safety. This is not a place for young children to be going to school. Starting at around 6 a.m., people going south on Belmore Road start beeping their horns because of the waiting of the traffic light to change. This is very annoying, and again, no one is around to enforce this violation. On June 19, 2017, I informed Wendy Summers of the road conditions and even sent her photos of the road conditions, which I still have on my camera. I also feel with the parents driving their children to this daycare center and school will just add to the potential accidents because of the location on the main road. As a result of all heavy trucks that travel this road, they cause a lot of vibrations, in which I can show tracks in my foundation, cellar floor, and concrete front porch. I replaced the floor in my garage 2 years ago, and there is also cracks in the garage walls. All these are issues I have informed Nassau County Public Works about and have told them to call me when they would send an inspector or engineer out so I can point out these conditions to them. I have never received a call back from anyone about my complaints. Please do not allow the school to be built here at this intersection. Thank you. Signed, Michael Heisman.
Yes, quick question. Who is
Yes.
Wendy Summers?
I believe that is the owner who is building the daycare.
I thought that was
Speak to
Colin.
that. Would you like me to speak to that?
Yeah. Oh, you know who she is?
Yeah, Wendy Summers is my client. She's the contract.
Okay. Hold on, Bill. You got to put your name and address on the record.
Okay. William Benesso for Chelly Deegan Tirana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, here on behalf of the applicant and on behalf of Wendy Summers, who is a principal of the company that is the contract vendee for the property. She is going to operate and own the Goddard School and response to the comments, I can tell you that that one neighbor has been opposed to anything going on this property for years. We actually had the support of the rest of the community for this application. All of those concerns that were expressed in that letter that Ms. has read were discussed and vetted before the Board of Appeals in connection with the relief needed for the proposed use. I don't want in a sense, we've got the tail wagging the dog here. This is an application for a lot line change to create a residential lot. Obviously, the traffic issues regarding the access are being addressed by both the traffic consultant and DPW itself. DPW is vetting this and will determine the best way to develop this lot. And if they determine that there's not an appropriate access, well, then we have to go back to the drawing board. But none of that should really impact the request for a lot line change that we're seeking today, so that a separate residential parcel can be built.
Okay, commissioners, any questions, comments? All right, we
Want to put on the record.
For the record.
I want to put on the record that Ron Ellerby just joined us.
Hello, Ron.
Hello, Commissioner Ellerby. Nice to see you.
Hello there.
Okay. So anybody have any questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion on NCPC file 22 of 2020 for an approval and a neg deck.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right, Counselor, have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Mr.
Bye-bye.
Chairman, don't you have to do a roll call?
Oh, yeah, I gotta do the roll call. You're right. Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellaby. Gotta unmute yourself.
Unmute
Ron.
yourself, Ron.
There you go. Speak. Do you approve?
Approve.
Okay. Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis, the third Vice Chair Lewis, rather.
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro,
Yes.
first Vice Chair Greenfield,
Yes.
Chairman Glennon, yes, so carried. Okay, last item, agenda
you.
item F.
This is for an extension of time on NCPC file 19-2019 for a 2-parcel minor subdivision. The applicants are the owner, attorney,
19, 2019 or 33, 2019?
This is 19.
Because the agenda I have says 33.
That was the
That was
old
the
agenda.
typo.
Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
No problem. The applicants are the owner, attorney, and contract vendee of Nassau County. This is for stormwater basin number 139, located at Mallard Road and Carl Place, town of North Hempstead. The parcel of land described as Section 10, Block 34, lots 40, 41, and 42 on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map, located on the south side of Atlantic Avenue and 85 degrees east of the Meadowbrook Parkway in the hamlet of Carl Place in the town of North Hempstead. The subdivision is required for the Long Island Railroad third track project. This was originally heard at the March 28th, 2019 Planning Commission meeting and was approved. It is before us today for an extension of time to file the deeds. The resolution was signed on April 24th, 2019. The new date of filing will be extended. It must be completed by October 24th, 2020. The public comment period will be open on this until Monday, July 6th at 4 p.m. And it will be voted on the next calendar date, which will be July 16th. Here to speak on the application is Kevin Walsh.
Yes, I just want to disclose that I represent the Department of Real Estate Services in this transaction, and I will be recusing myself.
And that's Counsel Gallagher. You want to put him in a waiting room, Sean? Not Sean, John, sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
Before-
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Kevin Walsh from the Office of Real Estate Services. Hope you're all well. This is just an extension of time. This actually is, I think was mentioned, was presented already to the Planning Commission and approved by the legislature. The closing is imminent, I think, just because of the loss of a few months with the current situation. We need an extension to file the deeds. We hope to close this as soon as possible, probably by escrow in the next few weeks.
Okay, and you understand that we're going to keep this open for public comment until July 6th, which is Monday?
That's fine. That's fine.
Final action on the 16th. And so it would be extended to October 24th, 2020.
Okay, that should be more than fine. So July 16th will be the final Planning
Final vote.
Commission.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Any comments, questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion on NCPC file 19 of 2019 for an extension of time to
Oh,
October.
no motion at this time. We
Oh,
have-
you're right. We got to keep it open till.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I should have spoke up earlier.
No, you're right. Okay, so that's it. So we'll keep this open until July 6th at 4 p.m. For public comment. I'll read the final statement on this, and then we'll be adjourned. Due to the coronavirus, you want to bring Mr. Gallagher back too? Due to coronavirus, state, federal bans on large meetings or gatherings, and pursuant to Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 220-1.1 issued on March 12, 2020, suspended open meetings law, the July 2nd Nassau County Planning Commission will be held via Zoom. Just shut this off. Sorry, it will be done via Zoom and may be viewed public live stream on Zoom. As described below, it will be labeled the July 2nd, 2020 NCPC meeting. The public may send in their comments for the public portion of the meeting via email to the address below. The NCPC will review and consider these public comments prior to making a final decision. A recording of the meeting will be posted on the Nassau County Planning Commission website. Instead of a public meeting open for the public to attend in person, members of the public may listen to or log into the video conference. Access and instructions for Zoom is available on the Nassau County Planning Department webpage, which is www.nassaucounty.ny.gov/2856/planning-department. Final decisions will be made on agenda items F at the July 6th. Today's meeting will be made on July 6th. The Nassau County Planning Commission will be accepting comments for cases listed in agenda item F for the July 2nd meeting by email to ncpc@nassaucounty.ny.gov. The deadline to submit comments is going to be this Monday, July 6th, no later than 4 p.m. Late comments received after July 6th at 4 p.m. Will not be accepted nor considered. The Planning Commission will make a final decision on the agenda items contained in section F after reviewing and considering the public comments. The Nassau County Planning Commission will be accepting public comments for the public portion of this meeting by email at ncpc@nassaucounty.ny.gov. The Nassau County Planning Commission will accept public comments via email for agenda items in section F before making a final decision on the matter. The public will have until 4 p.m. July 6th to email their comments for agenda item F to the email address specified above, and I'll repeat it. It's ncpc@nassaucounty.ny.gov. Late comments received after Monday, July 6th at 4 p.m. will not be accepted nor considered. After public comments are received, reviewed, and considered, the Planning Commission contained in agenda item F, the Planning Commission will make a final determination at the next scheduled hearing date of July 16, 2020. This meeting will also be conducted using a virtual meeting program, and access and instructions will be provided on the Nassau County Planning Department homepage. In that summary, it says that we'll be using a virtual meeting program. Are we looking to change from Zoom?
We have no plans at this time, but we just want to make sure that we cover.
Okay, I noticed we said Zoom in some places and then changed it in others. Okay, nothing else before us. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and wish everybody a happy 4th of July weekend and safe.
So moved.
Okay. All right, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody. Stay safe.
Stay safe and
Be
stay healthy.
well, stay safe, gang.
Happy
Lenny
New
hit
Year.
a long straight, not too often.
Yeah, well, I changed my tea time to 11:20.
There you go.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And they just said goodbye to our planning commission meeting.